What's up everyone, I'm Jessekazam and welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. This is episode 3 of our Lessons from Beyond the Grave series. In this series we take a few clips from my stream where I died and we break down the decisions that we made, what we did well, and what we could do better next time. I'm a huge advocate for giving yourself the opportunity to learn from your own mistakes. So for me, that's having a replay buffer where I can quickly clip something, watch it back, and get a whole lot of information that I might not have had in that moment. I stream Escape from Tarkov about 4 days a week. All my links will be down below. I'd absolutely love to have you stop by, chat it up, hang out, or ask questions if you're new to the game. We also have a Discord where you can ask questions or even find some people to raid with if you're interested in that. All those links will be below. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So as always, we'll start by just kind of watching the clip in its entirety, and then we'll go back and we'll kind of walk through some of the decisions that we made and what we learned from this experience. So we'll go ahead and dive in. I thought I heard something. There's a chance that this third guy is pushing up to the right.
I wanted to break glass. Hold on.
Saw the barrel of his gun. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
You still see him there?
No. This guy's pushing.
Oh, to your right?
Yep. I'm dead. He knew I was up here. I was gonna try and get an angle on him. He's pushing you.
Okay.
So this is another one of those times where it's kind of embarrassing when you watch it back, of course, but there's definitely stuff that we can learn from this engagement. So right at the beginning, the kind of setup here is that we saw somebody run to go hit the button, the reserve button that calls the raiders and opens up the hermetic door. Now, we saw one person, he hit the button, we took shots, and then we saw 3 people scatter. So it caught us off guard. We were surprised by the fact that we saw 3, and one player moved into to the right building, this white pawn here, and 2 players moved into the queen building. So we were kind of just assessing the situation, trying to figure out what happened. We had been up here for a while, trying to figure out if we could regain the knowledge of where they were. And right before this, you hear me reference it, we saw one guy walk up to the window. My partner, who is over in the dome, took a few shots, and we saw the barrel of his gun stick out of the window, but we couldn't get an angle. And so what happens here is, going back to, we've talked about this before, that little bit of tunnel vision where I know an enemy's in there and I'm just waiting. I don't want to miss my opportunity to get a really clean snipe on him. You know what I mean? He might know where my buddy is because he took shots from the dorms, but he doesn't know where I'm at, and you really just start to focus in, and you can see that clip, that you can just see that moment where he steps out and you want to take that shot. That was one mistake. Another, we right out of the gate in this clip, we say, I think this guy might be pushing. I may have heard something. I try and free look and listen to the audio. Once again, we're tunnel visioned on this guy. We don't want to miss an opportunity, even though my buddy has this view covered. The absolute best call should have been for me to reposition, even on this rock. I had time now to maybe position around or even just get up and look and see if that flank was happening. Because as it turns out, he was slow walking, making very little noise through those bushes and slow walking all the way up. The next mistake, the biggest thing here is, confidence is key. What happened was, I heard this guy moving up, and like 4 different plays I wanted to make all came through my mind at the same time. I thought maybe I can let him crawl past me and use the sniper to get a shot on him. I thought maybe I can rotate my player around still prone so that he doesn't get an angle on me and I can shoot down at him. And then I also thought maybe let me just get up and just drop down on this dude before he has time to realize what's happening. Because all of those things were going through my head at the same time, I didn't do any of them. I couldn't decide what to do. I switched to my secondary, which was an MP9, and I was going to just try and mow him down. And this guy ended up coming in chat later on and letting me know that he heard me shuffling around and switched to my secondary weapon. So he didn't know exactly where I was, but as he was creeping up, he was most likely creeping up towards the dome. I let him know where I was, and he came ripping around that corner and put some shots into me immediately. That, I think, is the absolute most important thing that I learned from this, and that I'm continuing to learn in this game, is that confidence is key. All of the plays that I had mentioned were potentially good plays. You know what I mean? Like, all of those things could have worked out for me, but what I ended up doing was getting confused, not knowing what I should do. And that's hard. It's scary to think about losing an engagement. And when you get that in your head before an engagement even starts, it can really paralyze you. And this is something I still struggle with often. I mean, this is a relatively recent clip, especially when I've been tunnel visioned on this. I haven't had it in my brain that he could be pushing up and what I would do if he was. I really wanted to get the snipe on this guy. So that was for this clip. It was really just slow down. When something happens, make a decision and be confident. And even if that decision is on the cautious side, as soon as I heard him, I could have got up and ran this way towards the dome, fallen on this side of the rock, and put distance between me and him. That confidence doesn't have to be in aggression. It doesn't have to be in, well, I'm just going to push this guy. I could have confidently moved and then given myself more time to listen, hear where he is, maybe meet up with my buddy and take the engagement that way. But, the fear kind of paralyzed us here, and it cost us. Those are some of the things we learned from this experience here. So I do have another clip that I wanted to share on this one as well. This was that same night with that same buddy on reserve. This time it's kind of the opposite. So the setup for this one is we were shooting at people in the dome. We found a few really cheeky angles from the buildings that are across near the helicopter, where we were pretty confident they weren't exactly sure where we were going to be. And we were shooting up at them, trying to land some good shots. And I started healing up from a previous engagement. A few scavs had wandered in, and we shot at them, and I was healing up, and we were kind of deciding what we wanted to do from there. So we'll go ahead and roll this one.
He got shot too many.
I say we push. Not like hella aggressively, but just like, let's get out of this building and let's work our way just like slowly around the map. Yeah. Oh my God! They're in the staircase. They are 2 feet away from you.
Okay.
So this is a classic case of miscommunication or lack of communication between the squad mates. So we were moving all around this building, the top of this building, trying to figure out get good angles or figure out what's going on. We killed some scavs, and we knew we were up on this top floor, and we were trying to figure out, what to do. We were constantly moving room to room, trying to get a better angle. I was healing up. We were talking about pushing. We were talking about pushing these guys, and another squad of dudes that had heard the firefight from when we were shooting at these guys up at the dome and when we were shooting these scavs had made their way up the building. Now, when we play it again, I hear, as soon as I say we should push, I hear footsteps that I assume are my teammates. I assume he was in the room near me, and when I said that, we decided, all right, let's go. This building, and those footsteps right there, just like slowly around the map. Yeah. When I rounded this corner, I thought that this guy right here was my teammate. Like I said, we had gotten into some engagement. We were all moving around. I didn't have the situational awareness to ask him where he was, or to really consider if, did I hear him behind me? Did I hear him so close? He's coming up the stairs. Did I hear him go downstairs? I was asking myself those questions. We hadn't been in engagement for a while, and I just assumed that this was him. Now, going back, there's a lot of visual cues right here. The armband is one, but I've talked about this in the tips for squad players. Is as soon as you start a raid, a really good practice is to look at your teammate and figure out what they're wearing. The backpack and the helmet are 2 of the easiest things. Oh, you're wearing an Alton and a tri-zip, something like that. Turning the corner, my teammate did not have a attack 2 or the tan ULAC on. And if I had really committed to memory, or at least tried to commit to memory what he was wearing, I probably could have identified this sooner. Now, I am really surprised that he didn't identify me and shoot at me sooner. I came right up on him, and right as I turned this corner and saw this second guy, I realized what I had done and that this was actually a second squad. I tried to take some quick shots and eliminate that guy and then snap to him. This guy still hadn't opened fire at me. He even started backing up. I think he wasn't sure if his teammate had gotten in front of him or something, and was a little confused. So when I realized that my point fire wasn't right on and that I didn't kill this guy, I figured my best bet would be to try and get behind this cover and get into the room. They both opened fire at the same time. You know, if I had been a really good shot, you know, there was a 1 in a million chance we'd have been able to make that happen. But really that comes down to, it's insane how much of a difference it would have made if I realized, you know, right here that this was an enemy. You know, he turns right there and I could have head tapped this guy, or at least put some significant shots into him, and then backed away and heard the other set of footsteps. My buddy ended up being down the hall down here, and we could have regrouped and moved down to that floor systematically and really taken these guys out. So this ended up being kind of a hilarious exchange. I wasn't even mad. You know, I knew that that was on me, but this just goes back to, especially if you're duoing or playing with a squad, being really, really aware of your teammates, what they're wearing, and where they are. Would have potentially saved me in this scenario. I think these guys ended up getting my teammate as well. So the little things can go a long way. So I hope that these videos help. I hope that breaking these down helps show you that even guys with, you know, thousands of hours in the game make really silly mistakes all the time. And that when you're watching something back, I find this all the time. There's so much information almost immediately upon watching something back that I'm like, how did I make that mistake? But when you're in, but that's the beauty of Tarkov. When you're in a raid and you feel the tension of your gear, maybe all the gear that you have on you, wanting to get into some really good PvP. When you feel all that, the decision making starts to break down, and that's what really separates the really good players from the average players, is being able to push through that and make good decisions through and through. So I hope that these help you kind of figure out what to look at, what to break down in your own raids. I highly encourage you to do this as well, and hopefully this just gets you better at Escape from Tarkov as quick as possible. Thank you all so much, as always, for taking the time to check out these videos. I really hope that these are helpful, that these help you maybe break down some of the things that you did wrong so that you can get better at Escape from Tarkov. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions or if there's any future guides you'd like to see me make. I'm always trying to create content that shortens the learning curve of this game and gets you in your raids having fun as soon as possible. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That super helps me out. And think about subscribing for more Tarkov content like this. Thanks again for stopping by, and I will see y'all on the next one.